Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Club Live here on Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. We are live on Twitter and on YouTube tonight, so get yourself over to the YouTube channel, get yourself subscribed and get yourself involved in the live chat as we discuss Porto transfers in and out, and obviously the big game that we all care about, which is Sunday away to Hibs. I am Scott Carney, and joining me tonight, looking clearer, and he'll sound clearer and everything because he's committed to this. That's it. He's got the bug now. There's nothing we can do about it. He's here for the long haul. Craig McKenzie. Craig, how are you, mate?
Evening, mate. Yeah, all's well. Out of Europe League business Sunday. Here we go. Good to go, man. Evening to everybody in the chat also.
Yes, exactly that, mate. And he's now that he's got a clear camera, you can all see that he's not in a toilet, and he does indeed sit in a pink room. So there you go. Yeah. That'll satisfy some people, mate. That's for absolute sure. But yes, hello everybody in the chat. Good to see you all. Hope you've all had a good week, and they're all looking forward to the football at the weekend. Again, I'm a man, can't really multitask. I will try my best to get to your comments up as well. But when it's just two of us, it's a little bit difficult. But the faithfuls are here. The Muirs are in, mate. If the Muirs are in, then we're all good. We're good to start when they're in, as well as the rest of you. So thank you to everybody for tuning in tonight. Very much appreciate it. Before we go any further, I just have to, people that have watched this podcast for a while will have heard the name Dixie before, and will have heard, I think he appeared once on a podcast briefly. I can't really remember whenabouts that was, but I think he has appeared once on it. But yeah, obviously, good mate of ours, good friend of the podcast. He is. He's asked me to do a wee bit of a charity shout out for him, and it's very much the least that I can do for him. So Lee is running the London Marathon along with three of his other friends for the MS Society, and it's for his best pal Keith. So I'll just read a wee bit about it, just so you understand what it's all about. So this is Keith's story. In May 2026, three pals and myself will be running the Edinburgh Marathon in support of the MS Society. Running a marathon is something we've always wanted to take on, but this time we have a very personal reason for doing it. Last year, my wife Caitlin was diagnosed with MS. The MS Society is an incredible charity that provides support to over 130,000 people in the UK living with MS, while also funding vital research into better treatments and one day a cure. Taking on this challenge is our way of raising money to help them continue their work and showing our support for Caitlin and everyone affected by MS. They would be very grateful if you could please sponsor them. The support not only keep us motivated through the long training miles, but more importantly, it makes a real difference to people living with MS. So yeah, a fantastic cause, literally a fantastic cause. The podcast has already made our donation to that. Good luck, Dixie, mate. You're going to need it because you'll be blown out your ass after about 2 or 3 minutes. If I know you, even though Dixie's the kind of person, mate, that thinks I can do that. That's no bother. Like, no problem. I'm going to do that. Typical guy fashion, mate, but he's in for it. He's in for it doing that.
In reality sets in.
Yes, reality will set in, definitely. But good luck to Lee and the other three lads going to do that for a great cause. If you can spare even £1, generally, even if it's just £1, just if you can click the link in the description for this podcast, you'll see it's called Lee or Dixie's Just Giving page. But if you click on that, I know Lee would be very, very grateful if you could even support him by just even donating £1. I know times are difficult, but I say the littlest of donations helps. It really does. So good luck, Lee, and yeah, I hope you survive it, mate. I hope you survive it, and I promise I won't come watch you do it. I promise I won't. I definitely won't be there to watch you do it. But I'll be thinking about you on the day, mate. I'll be thinking about you on the day.
Good luck, mate.
If you could support that would be great. Thank you, everybody. We'll move on now to Rangers Matters, Craig. And obviously, I called you Lee there. I've been thinking about him too much, and that's a horrible thing to be doing, thinking about Dixie too much, mate. That's not a nice place to be. We'll move on to last night's game against Porto as Rangers end the European, a very dismal European campaign, let's be honest, by getting defeated by 3-1. Out in Portugal, mate, dead rubber. I mean, I know people say it's never a dead rubber in Europe, but I mean, it really was just an absolute dead rubber. I think the most frustrating bit that I found about it, and not that I generally haven't lost any sleep about it, and we'll come on as to why I have not. the disappointing was we started so well, mate. Like the way we moved the ball in that first kind of 5-10 minutes, I thought we looked absolutely right up for it. Took an early lead, really good goal, really well played by young Curtis, and then just the age-old problems of defensive frailties, mate, come back to absolutely haunt us.
Like you says, probably 15-20 minutes, some of the best football we've played in Europe this season. Like you says, pressing, moving the ball, looked good in the midfield, organised at the back. Porto had a few breaks forward, came to nothing. And then the equaliser happened and it just kind of went to shit for then onwards. Capitulation. We've seen it before in Bruges. We know the squad's kind of got that in them. Didn't think we would see it again under Danny Röhl. But like you says, it was the dead rubber thing. People don't like to use, like you says, that term, but essentially it was a dead rubber. Russell Martin's campaign started off in the wrong foot and it literally went downhill for there. So you can go on about coefficient points, this and that and all the rest of it, but no, I'm just glad to see the back of Europe. I think because we've set the bench so high in recent years in Europe, I think it kind of let us down even more so this year because of the performances. But like we say, it's glad to see the back of it. It's out now. We've got league to look forward to. No midweek distractions. So be it. Let's go.
Yeah, I get that. I think look, it was all done under Russell Martin. The failed, you can't really call it an era, I suppose. The very short tenure of Russell Martin at the football club did a lot of damage, and especially in Europe. And I know we haven't quite reached the heights that we reached, obviously, when we reached the final, of course, but we've still always kind of made a good account of ourselves in Europe. We've always been there or thereabouts since Gerrard, really. We've made a good account for ourselves in Europe, and I think that's, well, I suppose that's a question to you, Craig. Now that it's ended the way that it has, one win out of that entire competition, and some of the teams that we did play, no disrespect to them, we should be doing better against them, and we should have got better results than we did. Has Russell Martin's disastrous start to this Europa League campaign almost tarnished our reputation now in Europe, and now maybe teams don't look at us in the same way they used to? And for example, the back cam wasn't in the club deck even once this season. No. And I was like, that's a wee bit disappointing because the back cam's always good. But are we now at a point where we need to rebuild that reputation again in Europe?
We absolutely do, mate. Like we says, when the draw was made away back at the start of the season, I think every one of us turned around and went, we probably couldn't have handpicked a more favourable draw, aside from maybe Roma and Porto. You're thinking to yourself, this is a good group to get us into that kind of top 8 playoffs at a very, very minimum. No disrespect, like you says, to the other clubs, but you were playing teams like Genk, Sturm Graz, Ludogorets. You're thinking these are all teams that you're picking maximum points up against, hopefully. But for day one, Genk at Ibrox, it just all went to pot. And that was a game for me. You had to start off in the front foot. But I don't know so much if it's going to have tarnished our reputation going forward, because we've had so many years of being a strong team in Europe. I think a lot of teams will still kind of maybe put it down to this has been a one-off season. Clearly they're going to be better next season, and I imagine we will be a lot better. I think if Danny Röhl had maybe started off in the summer where Russell Martin was, I dare say we might have done a lot better in that group this year, but it wasn't to be. We just need to put it behind us and look forward to next season and see where we go for there in Europe again. But reputation to be built.
Yeah, I think you're right. Obviously, I would like to think we're not going to see a European campaign like that again from Rangers. It was disastrous, really. It was. And even before last night, before even the game kicked off, it flashed up all the games, and I was going, "Oh, I remember that." I was going, "Oh, I remember that," and it was like horrible flashbacks of just how poor this campaign was for Rangers. It was extremely poor, and it's unfortunate that Danny Röhl came in when he came in. He couldn't really do very much. Obviously, his first game was that defeat against Brann, but I mean, you can't really put I don't put even a hint of blame onto Danny Röhl for the way that this European campaign went. I don't think it's got anything to do with him. And Craig, last night as well, as a whole, obviously none of the new signings could play. And last night was just the wee cementing final nail, if you like, in it all, where I went, he has literally took this squad as far as he possibly can, and you can see why we're in the window and why we're all sitting on the edge of our seats right now, hoping that there's another couple coming in. Obviously, we'll come to the transfers, but this was last night. I went, yeah, this is as far as this team can go. There's that group of players that were there. You can only polish a turd for so long, mate.
That's it, mate. Like you say, is we know the squad isn't good enough. That's why we've finished the group stage with four points, one win and a draw out of 8 games. Danny Röhl has, like you say, has got the best out of the squad that he possibly can. New signings in, I dare say we would have probably fared a wee bit better, but the squad, as it currently was last night, we weren't going to go to Porto and win that game, let's be honest. Even if it was a competitive match, Porto are just on a different level for what we are at the moment. When it went to 3-1, mate, I honestly had visions of Bruges all over again, and I'm going to be honest, I actually didn't watch the second half. People can slag me in the comments all they want, but got to half time and I just went, I can't sit here and watch another 5, 6, whatever else it could have been at that point. But like I say, it's behind us now. I don't want to reflect too much on it. Let's move on. We've got more important matters ahead. So
yeah, I was the same, mate. I mean, I can't say that I had the usual feeling around a Thursday night game going into that game last night. I was kind of like, I could be doing without this. Do you know what I mean? I could really be doing without this. And I think credit has to go to the way Rangers managed themselves in the second half, because it could have been a cricket score. But I also do believe, as much as we handed the goals to Porto and we did, the defending was just absolutely atrocious. I don't think in the second half, they just cruise controlled the full way through the second half, and we're quite happy for Rangers to have the ball, but we're never really going to do anything. And I give credit to Danny Röhl for the way that he used the substitutions as well. I think 10 minutes or so into the second half, he's looked at it and went, there's absolutely no chance of this happening here tonight, so I need to think of the bigger picture, and I need to move players about, take players off, rotate players, save players for what is the upcoming games. So no, I mean, I can't criticise any of that. It's just disappointing the way that it all went, and I think it just does put up a big kind of rubber stamp on just how poor this European campaign was for us. So very, very disappointing. But again, mate, as I said, I didn't lose any sleep over it last night. I generally didn't. Usually after a game, when I defeat, it takes me a little bit of time to get over it. As I'm getting older, I'm getting better, and I always say the kids are the perfect distraction for that, is because I tend to forget about it quite quickly. But I used to swallow me up for a couple of days at least, mate, about defeat. But last night, as you said, and you've said a few times, mate, we just put that behind us. We don't need to worry about what happened last night. It didn't teach us anything that we don't already know about that current squad. It's time to forget it even happened, dust yourself off and look forward.
Absolutely. And thanks to Cammy and the comments that gave up at half time along with me, so I wasn't the only one.
No, I mean, I watched it, yes, but I was on my phone the full second half. I won't lie. I was pretty much on my phone the entire of the second half, just doom scrolling, because it seemed a better thing to do than watching that. But yeah, look, it is what it is. But Danny Röhl, mate, I just want to speak about him a little bit, because more about the way that we lined up. I think it's very refreshing to see from the manager going to that kind of 5 at the back, and it's not because it worked. I mean, it worked initially when I thought Porto struggled to get to grips with what Rangers were doing, I suppose, in the shape that we were in. But I'm loving his adaptability, mate. I'm loving that he's not scared to change things. I'm loving that he's wanting to constantly improve. And this is all important for us going into the rest of the season. I know it doesn't seem like it after a defeat in the way we got defeated last night, but it's so critical for Danny Röhl to be as flexible as he can be with his approach, because one way or another, and he's doing it now in domestic games, and hopefully it continues, but we have to just keep on winning. And I do think with his willingness to just, right, that's not working just now, I'm going to move it to this, I'm going to move it to that, not sticking to this one philosophy football kind of cliche nonsense that's probably been and gone from football. It's so refreshing to see a manager that's willing to change things, and Danny Röhl's probably up there with the kind of most flexible managers I can remember seeing in Rangers in recent times.
You've absolutely hit the nail on the head there. It's like just even recent years with Rangers managers, that's been their biggest downfall. The fact that they've had a philosophy, and it's been that one philosophy. Phil Clement had it, Van Bronckhorst had it, obviously Russell Martin, Michael Beale, all these guys have had good philosophies, but when it comes to Scottish football, European football, you have to adapt that philosophy. Danny Röhl, like you says, has been brilliant, not just in the build-up and planning for a match, but actually in match tweaking things as well. If things aren't working, he tweaks it. You see, like Rangers will not be playing well in the first half. Second half are totally different because he's tweaked certain wee things at the half-time break or whenever. That's what's so refreshing about this guy. He knows if it's not working, it can always be fixed, and he's no scared to actually fix issues that are there during games as well. So no, definitely for me, he's ticking all the boxes going forward, and I'm putting a wee bit of trust in him to take us to the next level. Absolutely.
I just done a Scotia blooper there. I was muted. Apologies, everybody. Mr. Graham GO1 makes the point there. Danny Röhl seems to know the importance of a bench and that it can change a game. 100% agree with that. I think he knows, right, well, that's not working. I'm just going to pull him off. And I don't think he's got any kind of qualms about doing it. I think when a manager gets to a certain level of trust in the players that he's coaching, then they don't take offence either when he's changing things for the correct reason, when he's changing things in order to improve the team. And I think that's really important. I think the players are buying into this. I genuinely do believe that the players are buying into this, and the snipers just showed me a blue card. I know, mate, I know, shocking. Like, literally doing a Scotia blooper, mate, he's not even here. Absolutely shocking for me. But yes, the importance of just being able to change things, the importance of just being able to move things about, and it's incredibly important. And that's one bit about Danny Röhl that generally really, really impresses me. And yeah, as I say, even Christopher's made the point here. He looked frustrated at some of the players' decisions on the ball. I agree with that. I think the biggest problem with the current squad, if you exclude the three signings that we've made, which will hopefully come in and make a massive difference, it's a decision making again, and that's not something that can be taught quickly. That's something he's going to need to work on. I think for what he's done from when he's come in till now is pretty remarkable. Generally, it's pretty remarkable considering where we are domestically. But it's a decision making, Craig, isn't it? There's so many times we don't make the right pass, we don't make the right decision in terms of playing the ball left or playing the ball right, going forward, beating your man, crossing when you shouldn't cross, all these things. And it's most of it comes down to the final third, because the back line, no matter as much as it was a kind of defensive catastrophe last night, it was mostly James Tavernier, but the kind of defensive catastrophe last night, players like Fernandes and Giga's been all right since he's come back from AFCON. Honestly, I don't think he's really skipped a beat. I've got no problems with him. Made a great tackle last night at one point, and then Fernandes' tackle last night, superb, generally brilliant. He's getting linked with Dortmund and other teams in Germany and whatever else, and you can kind of see why. But it's the decision making in the final third, mate. That's the bit that's continuing to let us down.
Like you says, defence, you're always going to get the odd blooper with a defence. The best of teams in the Premiership, La Liga and all the rest of it, I'll make mistakes at the back. Yeah. But when you've got a forward line, like you're saying, that aren't firing, they're going to expose the defensive frailties more. But the decision making, we've touched on it so many times. Danny Röhl himself has touched on it so many times post-match conferences about decision making in the final third has to be better. There's players, we've seen it, no singling anyone out, but you've seen it with certain players that they'll be a pass on and they'll take a shot, and then vice versa. When you have to take a shot, they'll try a pass. He's been going on about it for numerous weeks now. I've not seen any improvement. I think it's something that, like you say, that he's focusing on this forward area to try and get at least one player in to maybe kind of rectify that for the rest of the season, because currently the forward line, as I say, is we need better if we're going to aim to win this league this season.
He made comment on last night that we need more quality in the final third, and I don't think that was he's an intelligent guy, the way he deals with the media, and I think that was as strong as a clue to Rangers fans and the media that we're very much in the market for a striker. It doesn't take you far to dig around social media to see that that's where the rumours are, and that's what we're looking to do. But I think it's critical. Didn't mind Shermatty last night, thought he was all right. I thought the service up to him again wasn't particularly good. Again, all resulting from decision making as well. He's one player that I think genuinely that, and I can't believe I'm saying this, that we could possibly go on and develop. In fact, before I come to kind of transfers in, I suppose, since I just spoke about Shermatty, we'll speak about potential outs. Now, Gassama, the rumour was that Monaco made a bid of 10 million. With Shermatty, the rumour was that Fenerbahce had made an offer of 13 million. I've not been on, Craig, since these kind of rumours were kind of flying around. One thing for sure is the Rangers FC or Skint Brigade are not very happy about the fact that we didn't sell these players at these prices because we're skint, so why are we not doing that? Two, is it my train of thought? Is it my muscle memory that's going, hang on, it in over 10 million, surely for a player we should be looking to sell that on? Or is this a sign of the new regime? Is this a sign of Andrew Kavanagh showing his muscle a little bit, saying, well, we don't need to sell. We're not in the position right now that we have to sell. And because when I seen both the offers, I went, and I mean, people will at me, but both of them I looked at, I went, why have we not said yes to both of them?
I think there's a wee bit of a couple of wee factors kind of with a situation. I think it's a case of, like Danny Röhl says, that he's no one to sell any players that he sees valuable for now at the end of the season kind of thing. The board have kind of turned around and went, we don't need to sell because, like I've highlighted it before, there's a difference with billionaires running your club than what we've had previously with millionaires running your club. So it's refreshing to see that we're not in a position that we need to sell. But we've been stung before with things like that. With Morelos back in the day, bids come in for him. We didn't take them, he ends up leaving for nothing. So a lot of people maybe have that at the back of their minds. Is this going to be a case of, if we're getting offered 13, 14 million for Shermatty now, do we take it? Or, you know what I mean, do we lose that value if the things go badly for him going forward? But the Gassama one, for me, I still think there's a lot more that Gassama can offer if we could only work in his end product a wee bit more. I think they've got a really good player in Gassama. And I think the manager and the coaches will see that as well. Shermatty, for me, he scored 4 goals as a number 9 this season. I would probably be inclined to accept a 13, 14 million pound bid for him this window. We could technically go out and get 2, 6, 7 million pound forwards to replace him for that kind of money. So Gassama, I would probably hang on to. Shermatty, I would probably be inclined to take the money.
I generally think it's just my old way of thinking, mate, about the way things have been, where I think Rangers, I've seen people say we're not a selling club anymore, and I get to an extent we're not, but really we are, and we have to be. The player trading model has to work in order for us to be sustainable. It's as simple as that. We will be a selling club. We won't be attracting well, you never know. There might be the odd one that kind of comes out of the blue, but we would not be attracting the players that we certainly grew up watching anyway. It's not the same ball game anymore. It really isn't, with the kind of Goliath that the English Premier League is, really. Been able to quadruple a guy's wages pretty much overnight. But I said, when I was looking at it and thought about it, I thought, has Gassama shown enough for me to think that 10 million is not a fantastic offer for him? And I'm like, and I get people saying his value's probably not going to go down. Yeah, but that's not a guarantee either, because we've seen that again previously. So maybe I'm a wee bit sceptical about it. Maybe I'm a wee bit concerned about the approach of it. And sorry to sound so overly negative about it. It's great that teams are interested in our players, yes. Don't get me wrong, but with Gassama, I was like, that's the one that I would have said, well, yeah, thanks very much. Shermatty, who knows? I mean, if we're led to believe what Kevin Thelwell told us, the stats of this guy are off the charts, and what the future potential of him is off the charts, and yada yada. But I suppose it's having the right players lined up at the right time, and if we didn't do that, then we don't need to sell right now, then fine, we can readdress it in the summer. If they're still interested, then we go on and win the league, or we at least finish strong, and these players perform towards the end of the season, then the likelihood is that there'll be more offers in the summer. So I can get where they're coming from, and their contracts do have a considerable amount of time left to run. But yeah, I think I need to just change my thinking, mate. I think I just need to change my thinking.
I've seen somebody also going on about the Chirmity situation. For me, he's not a natural number 9. He's not a goal scorer. But he's got the strength. He's got the pace. And I've seen somebody liking him with a situation to Joe Linton at Newcastle, and how he was signed as a number 9. It didn't quite work, and all they done was drop him back a bit and play him with a 9, and all of a sudden he became a much, much better player. For me, that's actually a good shout. There probably could be a situation where you could maybe do that with Chirmity, play him alongside a goal scorer. He's the big man that can hold the ball up, bring players into play, and he's got that kind of weight of, you're the man to score the goals off his shoulders as well. So that could be a possible situation with Chirmity going forward. So I actually like that wee likening to Joe Linton.
Yeah, I get where you're coming. Big man, little man thing, mate. 4-4-2. I mean, take me back to the 90s, mate. 4-4-2.
Absolutely, that's what I mean.
Big man, little man up front, yes, and let's go score some goals. But no, yeah, there might be something in that. I think there's a lot of. He's still extremely raw for me, Chirmity, and Gassama is awfully frustrating at times as well. But again, if there's not immediate line people lined up to replace them, then would we fancy selling Chirmity and continuing on with just Majowski and Danilo for the rest of the season? I think not. So as much as people don't think Chirmity might be one of the best players that we have at the club, he is an option, and he's right now he's the starting striker. I think everybody would pick him over the other two currently. So yeah, just one of those things. But again, it's probably I need to change my thoughts, mate, to be honest, about the way that we are now going to clearly do business. Since we're sticking on outs, mate, Joe Rothwell again, he's still closely linked to leaving. Danilo, there's been a bid apparently from Paphos, and he almost looks set to leave. Could kind of see it in his reaction after the goal at the weekend. Rothwell and Danilo, mate, I'm not going to lose any sleep if they move on before the end of this window. I'm not going to lie. Joe Rothwell is one that extremely disappoints me, mate, because when we first signed him, I was genuinely excited about him. I was like, this guy was a baller. I've seen him for brief times. I seen him playing when he was playing down south. I thought this boy's good, and I thought he's going to sit in that 8-6 role and just dictate football. And it's just literally over the summer, mate, the guy's legs have just completely disappeared. It's unfortunate for him, but it's just an absolute failure of a signing.
I'm with you on that. When we first signed him, or even when we were rumoured to be signing him, I thought this is the kind of player that we need to come in and kind of do all the dirty work in the middle of the park. And for whatever reason, like you says, it's not worked out. Maybe he thought Scottish football was going to be something different from what it actually is, like a lot of people kind of do, but I still thought he would have adapted really quickly to our game. But we don't know the factors behind how it's not worked out, but it's not worked out. Same with a couple of players. I'll even say like Ant-Man as well fits that kind of bracket. Brilliant stats coming to the club. For whatever reason, he's not managed to kind of hit the heights as yet. But Joe Rothwell was a bit of a surprise. But Danilo started off with all the promise, looked great in his opening games. Then he picked up that fractured cheekbone at St Johnstone, and it just seems to be his Rangers career since has been a kind of stop-start, hit or miss. He scores some brilliant goals, and then he'll disappear for games. But the fact nowadays, I think he's got so many battle scars with injuries that you can actually see it in his play. It's a 50-50 to be won. He'll back out every time, every single time. But natural finisher, probably the best we have at the club. But he's not the kind of guy that's going to offer us anything for now at the end of the season. And like you says, Chirmity at this moment in time is your number 1.
Yeah, and when Majowski's your the second choice striker as well over Danilo, and the form that Majowski's shown, it shows how down the pecking order Danilo is. For me, look, there was flashes with Danilo that I seen that I thought were good, and I'm not going to go for Lally Pearson here, but there was flashes of bits of Danilo that I seen where I thought, oh, that looks quite good, that looks pretty good, but he didn't miss some absolutely howling sitters. And I remember the whole chat between playing him over Dessers and whatever else when that was a chat. Dessers missed sitters. I was like, Danilo missed sitters as well. He really did. And for whatever reason, the £6 million that we paid for him is just, I mean, it looks laughable now. It really does. I think the rumour, the highest bidder, or one of them was 2 million. And to be honest, I would be taking it and being like, thanks very much, but it's not going to work out for you here. Kind of goodbye, and we'd reinvest it. So yeah, well, still a bit of time to go. It's Monday night, the transfer window slam shut, that I'm legally obliged to say, slam shut on Monday night. So still a bit of business hopefully to come over the weekend and possibly even into Monday. The biggest rumour just now is Ryan Nadiri, who plays for Hansa Rostock in the German third league, I think it is. I'm not going to lie, mate, that I don't know anything about this guy. I'm not going to sit and pretend that I watch third-tier German football. I certainly do not. But Rangers apparently have submitted offers, and the player reportedly wants to move, with reports also saying that he has submitted a transfer request now, that he wants to move on. I think his club are holding out for €5 million, and I think Rangers have went in at €3 million. But it's clear, I think, really, Craig, that we are definitely going to be going for a striker. If I was going to expect any signing over the next couple of days, and if it was only going to be one, I think it's pretty certainly going to be a striker. Would you agree? And do you know anything about Ryan Nadiri, mate?
I know absolutely nothing about Ryan Nadiri. Know absolutely nothing about Hansa Rostock. I remember vaguely, I think it was like playing FIFA 2012 or something like that, and I think Hansa Rostock were in the Bundesliga at the time. That's about all I know about German third division football, to be honest. But the boy seems to fit this profile that Danny Röhl's been kind of targeting. These 6 foot plus kind of big, strong players. I mean, he's, like I said, we've touched on it before, the Chukwani and Romans and even Skov Olsen to an extent. They're bigger players. So it seems to be that profile. But I think he's got 8 goals in 17 games with 5 assists or something like that. So obviously they've done their homework on this guy. This is not just came from nowhere. So he clearly is somebody that they want to get in. And like you says, he seems keen on the move, but it's definitely a position that we really need to strengthen. So hopefully we get it over the line and see what he can do. But I don't imagine that'll be the only one, I think, before Monday night, in my opinion, that we'll get in the door. I think there might be another one somewhere that's been kept relatively quiet, hopefully.
Yeah, kind of bubbling up in the background, mate. Yeah, probably. Yeah. I mean, Rangers tend to do their business quite quietly, but this one seems a little bit more public than recent ones the recent transfers that we've seen. But there is obviously something in it. Again, look, at this point, you've just got to kind of trust Danny Röhl, I think, at this point, because I don't know really a great deal. He is a big physical guy. I think you can see that he's going for a bit more physicality in the team, which again I'm all for. We have spoke about it many times on the pod that we lack physicality, like we lack presence when we're in the trenches, if you like, with some games in the Scottish League. So look, as I say, I'm not going to lie, but if we are looking to definitely get in a striker, and Ryan Nadiri does seem the one that is kind of the front runner for that. So we'll have to see how it develops over the next kind of couple of days. Danny Röhl had made mention as well regarding he has a number in mind about the players that he wants to bring in. So obviously he didn't reveal how many that would be, but I think, if we get 5 in this window, Craig, I think that's pretty good going in it. I mean, you've got to look at the signing of Skov Olsen's a good one. Chukwani is going to need time, I think, to adapt to Scottish football. I think he needs time. They're all probably going to need time. Skov Olsen needs to get up to speed. I think the last time he played competitive football was November, and I think he was on the pitch for 3 minutes, mate, just as a cameo substitute appearance. So he's definitely got some work to do in order to get match fit. But say we finish with 5, mate, we bring in a striker, and what other position do you believe we will bring in? But even if we do finish with 5, it's pretty good going in this window, and obviously hopefully offloading another few.
Definitely. If somebody told me at the start of the window we're going to bring in 5 players on, I think you would have bit your hand off for that. to be quite honest. I think we've hopefully strengthened in the positions that we had to strengthen, should we bring a striker in. That was the position I think everyone kind of says that we needed somebody. I see people in the comments going on about the links to Cameron Archer as well today. He's a player that I think I really like him in terms of a goal scorer, but I see them saying about, obviously, does he fit the profile that Danny Röhl's going down? He kind of more fits the Mas Winisi kind of profile as a player that obviously we've mentioned in the past as well. So the Cameron Archer one for me, if we could get that over the line, I think that'd be a tremendous bit of business for now at the end of the season, even if it should be a loan.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Yeah, absolutely. I think I just hope there's something simmering there, and I have no doubt Rangers are doing that thing that they do in transfer windows where don't go to bed yet and all that kind of stuff, and we'll see what happens in the last day of the window. But I'm hoping for another two. I would really like a striker. I think a striker would be great, and I don't think we could go wrong with strengthening pretty much everywhere on the pitch. I don't think there's anywhere that I would be like not supportive of the signing. I think a mid we could do with supporting the midfield, of quality in the midfield. We could do with quality in the defence at times as well. So yeah, I think there's still a bit to go for absolute certain, and it will be interesting to see what does happen over the next couple of days. But obviously last night, Craig, left us completely out of the European. We were already out, but I say the European campaign is now completely put to bed, and all eyes immediately just straight on to the league, and that's exactly what we should be doing. Last night was a bit of a distraction in terms of the game itself. We are all really concentrating on one thing and one thing alone right now, is the fact that we're involved in a title race, and we now move on to Sunday. So, I mean, you can't really look at last night and make any sort of judgment from it, any sort of massive revelations from it. We kind of knew what this team were, what they do. It's nothing new to us. But moving into Sunday, as we move on to Sunday, it's now crucial for, well, yes, signings, as we just spoke about, but these new players have to get integrated, and integrated quite quickly. They're going to have to get up to speed pretty soon. Yes, we came off a convincing 3-0 win in the end against Dundee, but for some reason, and we've got a good record away at Easter Road, but every time we have Hibs at Easter Road, we always think this is a tough game. But the new signings, Scott Olsen, Shukwane, they two are the ones that are more than likely going to start. They're about to feel the wrath of Scottish football. Put it that way, mate. They're about that. Easter Road is one of the places. The pitch is on top of you. Their fans are not very nice people. They like to throw things at Rangers fans, etc. So they're about to experience what Scottish football is literally all about on Sunday afternoon.
Aye, absolutely. Outside Celtic, Aberdeen, I think Easter Road's probably the next the hostile environment that they could go to play in. So it will be a wee bit of an awakening, a welcome to Scottish football for these new guys. But Hibs, like you says, I think is it 3 wins or 2 wins in the 3 draws or whatever in the last 5. So it has been kind of kind to us in the last couple of seasons. But they're a kind of win.
Sorry, mate. I thought you were talking about Hibs. Aye, sorry, you were talking about, but yeah, against us, yeah, our form's actually all right. Sorry, carry on, mate.
No, we're all right at Easter Road in the last maybe 5 or 6 games. But they're a kind of wounded animal at the moment, in my opinion, the way they're going. Their season's no going to plan. Their manager, I think, is like maybe a couple of defeats away from getting the sack, the way things are kind of getting reported. But this is an ideal opportunity for them to kind of kickstart their season against getting a result against Rangers. So it's not going to be an easy game by any stretch of the imagination, and I think it's a game that we'll really need to dig deep to get something from. So it's a big game on Sunday for us, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Every game now, again, I've said it before, it's a footballing cliche. Every league game now to the end of the season is a cup final. It really is, considering the position that we've managed to get ourselves in. Hibs are sitting 5th in the league currently. 9 wins, 6 losses, 8 draws. And obviously their last game was not a particularly good one, as they went down 4-1 to Falkirk, which was away. So they're not exactly firing on full cylinders just now, so they'll be looking to get a bounce from this. And Rangers will probably, a bounce is probably a little bit too strong a word to say after last night, but we'll be looking to get back on that winning streak as quickly as possible. You could almost just, if we could, and the stats would let us, and we could just remove last night and say that we're still on a winning streak, because last night mattered not really much at all. But Sunday's where it all has to restart yet again. Rangers have to go into this with the correct attitude, not feeling sorry for themselves in any way regarding the way that the European campaign went. Remember that it wasn't Danny Röhl that started the European campaign. Yes, he was the guy that finished it for us, but he's not the guy that started it, and it's now time to fully concentrate on the league stuff. In terms of what Hibs will do, I think they'll go for it, mate. I think they'll be looking to, as I say, after their defeat against Falkirk, which is a pretty hefty defeat, even though Falkirk are going pretty good guns this season. I think Hibs will come and have a go. They always tend to, especially Easter Road. They still won't sell out their stadium for it because they can't, but they'll give Rangers that tiny little corner, as they always do. But in terms of the approach from Rangers, mate, is it just implement our style, do our thing, back to the 4 at the back with the 2 in midfield, 1-10, with the 3 forwards? Is that the approach that you would go? Is that the approach like Danny Röhl would go, almost return to not the norm, but the formation and the style that we've seen most of all from Danny Röhl? Is that what you expect on Sunday?
Yeah, definitely. It's a revert to type case kind of thing. Don't fix what's not broken domestically. It's worked for him up to now. I don't see Hibs any different in opposition to tweak that system. I think absolutely Hibs will go for it. We know that Hibs are like one of these teams again that kind of treat Rangers as one of their kind of cup finals, so to speak. So, like I says, it'll be a tough match. Anyone that thinks it's not going to be a tough match, it's going to be a tough match. Like you says, it's all cup finals for us for now at the end of the season, and we need to treat Sunday as one of the cup finals. But definitely, it's a tough match. But Hibs being where they are at this moment in time, like you say, is 5th in the league, no firing on all cylinders, crowd a wee bit on their backs at the moment. It could go either way. We could either have got them at a good time, or like I says, they're going to respond to the negativity that's surrounding the place at the moment. But hopefully, we concentrate on our game, and hopefully we pick up the 3 points and push further on in the league.
That's absolutely it, mate. We have to concentrate solely on us. We have to concentrate solely on what we are doing. And even, I know obviously last weekend was built up about the big fixture in terms of something having to give between Celtic and Hearts. But now it's just to say concentrate on us. We are now second. We don't need to look behind anymore. We look forward now. We are the informed team in the league. So we should be going there full of confidence. We should be going there looking forward to the game, looking forward to implementing our game onto Hibs, and hopefully we see the kind of second stage of integration from the new signings as well, and they make a real impact on the game now that they've had a little bit more time with the team. So yeah, it's a game that I'm looking forward to. Absolutely a game that I'm looking forward to. It's always one you look at in the calendar and think, right, that could be a critical game and whatever else. I think they're at home to, I know I've just said concentrate on us, but for people that don't know, I think they're at home to Falkirk. But again, hopefully Falkirk can do us a little favour. That would be quite nice. But as I say, we just have to concentrate on our own business, mate. It's as simple as that. We have to just keep going, and hopefully when we get to the Hearts game, the Hibs game, the Hearts game and the Celtic game, that we're in a position to get ourselves towards the top of the league, to get ourselves into pole position and motor on from there. There's no doubt about it, mate. February's going to be a tough month. There's a lot of big games in February. I know every game we're saying is a big game, but February is particularly busy. Me and the missus tend to sit down and do a calendar, and I'll put in all the games that I'm Ibrox away, whatever else, so she knows what's going up at whatever weekend and whatever else, so she knows exactly where and what I am. And I looked at it and I was like, there's quite a lot of games of football. I was like, and there's some tough ones in there too. You've got Hearts, you've got Motherwell. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of tough games coming up, so it all starts on Sunday, literally.
Everybody's going on about the Hearts game and the Celtic game could be vital. Like you says, we've got starters on Sunday. We've got Hibs away. We've got Kilmarnock at home. Kilmarnock are no disrespect to them, but they're no firing on all cylinders this season at Ibrox. But Motherwell away is a really, really tough fixture before we even get to Hearts, mate. I know we've got a Scottish Cup tie before that to kind of possibly rest a few players. So the Scottish Cup ties probably came at a perfect time getting into these next 3 fixtures after it. But Motherwell away is a really hard tie. Hearts at home, and then, like we say, we play Celtic in an Old Firm. If we can come through the Motherwell game, the Hearts game, obviously the Hibs and Kilmarnock prior to that, and we've taken maximum points, I think we're in a really good position to kind of kick on this season. I really do. Really do.
Yeah, I would agree, mate. I would absolutely agree. This could be the kind of crucial month, and I feel like I'll say that at the start of next month too. If this month goes
massive
really well,
month.
I'll say the same about March as well. I'll say March, massive month, mate. I'll be saying the same thing right up to the end of the season. Massive April, yeah, and hopefully party time in May. That's what we're all hoping for. Again, it's one of those ones you do have to look at it. As Rangers fans, it's nice to be able to say that we are involved in a title race. A bit odd that we're saying that it's a 3-horse race really in the title race, but that's exactly what it is. And it's just a good feeling to be involved in it.
That's refreshing in itself, though, the fact that it's not just 2 teams. There's actually 4 teams potentially involved in what could be a title race coming the end of the season. It's good for Scottish football, but it's good for a neutral looking for the outside in. So that's refreshing.
Absolutely refreshing, mate. And look, there's a lot of people that now follow Rangers, a new generation of people that won't remember title races, mate. We won't remember what it was like, wouldn't been a part of Helicopter Sunday and all the things that go along with that, mate. And as I say, it's what it's all about. And if it goes your way, it's awfully fun. It really is awfully fun if it goes your way. It's well worth it in the end if it all goes your way. But look, massive game on Sunday, generally massive game. We'll finish up with if, and Shosty Muir's just said, a drink up in the Viceroy incoming.
Absolutely.
If we win the league, there will be a party in the Viceroy. Yes, there will be. There will be a live show, but whether it will make much sense, I'm not sure, because I think we'll all have a few. That's
dare say there'll be a few push-ups in the Viceroy for me before then, anyway, Justin.
Yeah, exactly, mate. Exactly. But we'll finish up, mate, with teams and scores. Craig, so you can go first, mate. What's your team for Sunday and your score prediction?
Most of it kind of picks itself, to be honest. You've got Jack Butland in goals. I'm not taking Magoma out at the left back. Fernandez, Suter will come back in at centre halves. For me, Dujon Sterling's fit. He's getting as my right back. Raskin, Diamondi, Asgard. I don't think it would change the middle three. A lot of people might shout for Chukwani to come back in and get a start again, but I wouldn't do it this weekend. I would just leave the middle three. Scov Olsen on the right-hand side for me, give him another run out. Gassama, everyone might disagree with me on that one, but Gassama at the moment, for me, is still the best option on the left-hand side, and Chermity has to play through the middle as your 9. So, apart from Dujon Sterling coming in, I think the team kind of more or less picks itself. So that's my team. I'll go 2-1 Rangers.
Just quickly, I meant to mention this earlier, dead professional and all that. Young Curtis made a good account for himself last night, I thought. It looks like he's about to finalise his deal to Kilmarnock. Is that the right thing for Rangers to be doing right now with Curtis?
I kind of says it last night on the chat. When you looked at the way he took his man at that level and the delivery he put in for Gassama, I mean, it's a top-class delivery. I think Curtis, for me, if getting game time, I can see why you would put him out on loan, but I think Curtis could be a good player to have on the bench for us from now to the end of the season and for somebody else. And you can say about not developing as a young player. And I can see it for both sides. Personally, I would rather have him sticking about our squad for now of the season and offering something off the bench.
Whether there's too much financial commitment behind the Mikey Moore deal, obviously we don't know the full details with that. We might limit his play time and whatever else, but I still look at Curtis and go, every time he's on the pitch he makes an impact, and every time he's on the pitch he kind of tends to make the right decisions, and these assists last night was superb, generally brilliant. So look, I'm all for developing players and for them going out and developing. I don't think Kilmarnock's a particularly good place for him to go, considering the current state that they're in the league, and obviously the pitch.
And playing a grass pitch. Yep.
Yeah, exactly, mate. They play in the plastic pitch. So I think for me, it's one that I'm thinking I would have him sticking around. I've got nothing wrong with that guy making appearances from the bench and coming in from time to time when he can, starting games. I think if you're starting him in a European game like you did last night, then surely he's good enough to be starting in domestic football for us. So
we started him in European games at the start of the season, but I mean, it was him that more or less single-handedly got us through the game against Panathinaikos when he cut inside and scored an absolute screamer. So you know the boy's got talent. If he can do it at that level against that kind of opposition, for me, he's worth having about the squad. Definitely.
Yeah, it does seem slightly odd. It does seem like a slightly odd one to be letting him go. I think I would be along the same lines, mate. I think I would rather he stayed at Rangers. I really would rather stay at Rangers. I think there's a lot to come for the lad, and I've got high hopes for him. I genuinely do. I hope he can kick on. I think there's real potential there, but it's just I don't know. It's just a difficult one for me, and I know Mr. Graham's just made the point there. He's going to be coached by Neil McCann, obviously Billy Dodge, both coaches that I actually really like. Even before their kind of involvement with Rangers recently, but I think that would be the only reason really for it. I think he's shown too much form to think that we need to send him out on
there's pros and cons for both sides. For me, there's more pros to keeping him than there is cons, and like we says, but the Neil McCann thing, I get it. I get what people are saying, and the game time that he's probably going to get there than what he would get at Rangers. But for me, he's going to be more influential for us for now at the end of the season. They will be going on loan to Kilmarnock.
Yeah, and Mr. Graham said again, we loaned out Griggsy at the start, but a keeper's different. If there's a number one in front of a keeper, he's not going to get the chance to play. So whereas you don't sub keepers, you can sub outfield players, obviously. So I don't think that's quite the same thing, to be honest. So yeah, just a different one from a difficult one for me, because I'm like, I think I'd rather see him stay. But again, looks like it's about happening anyway. So my team, if Sterling's fit, yeah, probably at right back. I don't think he will. I think he'll stick with Tav. Well, should I come back in as well straight away? Yeah, probably. For Hibs, yeah, it'll be him and Fernandes, Magoma. Who was your midfield three? Who did you say again?
Raskin, Diamonde, Asgard.
I think Chukwueze will play. I'm pretty sure he'll play Chukwueze just for the size and physicality of him, mate. I think he'll play him. Whether he plays him over Diomande or not, I'm not sure. But yeah, I think if you're going to need to play Asgard in the 10, we're going to need a wee bit of creativity there. A shout to maybe move Mikey Moore into the middle, see how he gets on, because that's where he performed pretty good for us before when he was kind of more central, with Scott Wilson being there, not Scott Wilson, Gassama on the left, and Aisha has to play through the middle. So something along those lines, I think, will be the team. I'll go for 3-1 Rangers, and I'll go for Shamiti to score first. Who's your first goal scorer, Craig?
I'll go for Asgard again. Keep up his good run of form.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, very much looking forward to it. And of course, we will be back on Sunday with a reaction, win, lose or draw. But I very much hope that your team wins on Sunday and you see some smiling faces on this podcast afterwards. So thank you for everybody for tuning in tonight. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Very much appreciated. Thank you for joining us. Craig, for joining me tonight. Thank you, mate.
You're welcome, mate. I hope everybody gets a good result on Sunday, enjoys their weekend.
Yes, hope so. And I say, yeah, you'll see, well, at least me, but there'll be probably somebody else on with me on Sunday, and I hope I might be slightly hungover. We have a night out on Saturday, so I might be slightly hungover, but I'll still be here. I promise. I'll promise I'll still be here. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, all the usual stuff. If you can, please donate £1 to Dixie running the marathon for the MS Society. The link for that is in the description for this podcast. It would be very much appreciated, and I know it would mean a hell of a lot to Lee, and if it means a hell of a lot to Lee, it means a hell of a lot to us. So please do, if you can spare £1, please do so. That'd be very much appreciated. Again, we'll see you on Sunday. Again, thank you for tuning in. We are Club at 22, the Rangers podcast, and we'll speak to you all on Sunday. Cheers, everybody.